Hello, good morning, or good afternoon, whatever it is where you are. I wanted to check in with you today and hope everyone is doing well. Like many of yourselves, don't have any work at the moment, and I won't for the foreseeable future, so I'm making the most of my time. I kind of thought of that old game you used to play when you were kids, if you won $1,000,000, what would you do? And all the things you would buy if someone just gave you a blank check. And I thought, how interesting that we have a blank check, but now it's for time. And all the things we said that we would do if we had unlimited time, kind of getting an opportunity to do now. So I've been taking that opportunity to go over some of my writing and some of the lessons I've learned in life, and some interesting things have really popped up for me. So I wanted to share it with you. Personally, a lot of people don't know that I was married for 20 years. I'm coming up on 7 years of being single after he passed away, and it was very difficult at the end because of some of the challenges that we were facing. And I came across one of the pieces that I wrote at the time. And I'm going to share just a little excerpt of that with you today, because some of the lessons that I learned from that time have kind of come back around and become very important to me again. And if it's not your thing and you really don't want to hear it, just click away, because that's your privilege. But I met someone a few months ago who really made me feel that they loved me for the person that I was and not for what I do, if that makes sense to some of you. And that maybe I was even beautiful to them, which I know is kind of silly for someone my age to say, but I just had never had that before. So even though we can't be together now, I'm very grateful for what they gave to me. And at this point, I guess I don't have anything to lose. So I'm just going to share some of the things that I've always kept from other people. And if you like it and it helps you, great. And if you don't, carry on. Okay, so this is a piece that I wrote for my blog. It's at kbnelson.wordpress.com if you want to go check it out. I've had it for years and years. I'm not very consistent with it, so I will write a lot at a time and post, and then I will go months without anything. So fair warning. This one was entitled Jekyl and Hyde. My favorite things about my husband were his kind heart and his openness about being a flawed individual. He often told people he had no filter, but he meant well. I may have hated that he took his shoes off in public and he sat like a cross-legged yogi in formal settings, but more than anyone in the world, he taught me not to hide behind society's conventions. I lived with the Jekyl and Hyde personality. If you have lived with a person with mental illness, such as bipolar, schizophrenia, a personality disorder, or someone who struggles with ADHD, PTSD, something like that, in particular with any substance abuse that accompanies it, you know how these two entities can coexist, how you can love the person and not their disease, and all the appalling choices they make. Many find that incomprehensible. They advocate throwing the baby out with the bathwater, living for yourself and letting the other person go. And that may become necessary, but that's a topic for another time. They might want you to pretend that there is no disease. They may claim you're tarnishing the memory of a person by talking about the Mr. Hyde side. They may want him to only be Dr. Jekyll in retrospect. What they don't understand is it isn't bad all the time. As I wrote this, I was thinking of the person I loved most in the world then, the one who cried as hard as our infant daughter when he accidentally scratched her cheek with his fingernail, the one who was so pleased with himself to bring me a huge bouquet of flowers, only to be deflated when I noticed that they were silk. He could not tell the difference between the real ones. The one who listened patiently to my desire for a chicken coop, or a screened-in sunroom, or a new weaving loom, or a spinning wheel, and then he went out and he built them for me, when he had never done any of those things. There are 1,000 times I wish I could turn and share that secret look over our children's heads in some private joke that only co-parents understand. I imagine him looking over my shoulder here, aware that I may be telling things that others find uncomfortable or unseemly. He would have felt sorry that they couldn't move beyond whatever private issues they had to see the heart of another. He would have told them that he couldn't change the past, but that was no reason someone else shouldn't learn from it. I can see him pointing out things that I should mention. He would want me to tell you about the time he locked himself in the chicken coop, which he built, that did not have a lock. I never figured that out either. Or the time he mowed an already cut lawn at 11 p.m. with the headlights on. Or when he donned hip waders to sit in the water garden after dark like it was a giant hot tub, all because he was too trashed to behave rationally. The two of us would have rolled our eyes at those scenes, and we would have agreed that he was a moron. And then we would shoot for a better tomorrow and talk about no experience ever being wasted. I miss our frank conversations, our ability to be blunt with each other, to know that our love for each other went without saying. It hurts when people question that. He used to tell me that people didn't like my direct way of talking because I spoke to them as a person instead of as a woman, that I'm not subservient enough. He believed that his wife was mentally equal and probably superior to any man, including himself. And of course, now I'm not fit for anything else. But it's why he thought I was the only one who could talk him down out of his tree, and I did that a lot. We traveled a long road together. I just couldn't walk the last mile with him. I'm proud of our 20 years of tenacious dedication to each other. I hate that we will never have a 30 or a 40 or a 50-year anniversary, and it's not likely that I have time to have those with anyone else. My daughter shared something that I didn't know. Not long before he left, he told her how good it was that she had her art. He said, "You have to find a way to help yourself, because someday there will be no one around to help you." He was an advocate for sharing your story if it would help someone else. He knew that the author is the first person who gets helped. The rest is a gift. And he spent most of his good days practicing that. These memories rest side by side, the good and the bad, the precious and the ridiculous. But life is light and shade. For you, maybe not to the extreme that my experience has been, but to be dishonest or to lie by omission would be to discredit our time together and the things we learned. We did not end our time together in a happily ever after. But neither, my friends, will you. I know the truth hurts, but it is a truth you already know. There will be an illness. There will be an accident, a betrayal, old age. It's coming for us all. And that's why it makes you angry or ashamed or eager to blame or look away or panic. But rather than live in fear or bury our heads in the sand, we have an opportunity to wake up. Pay attention to the life that we are living. Celebrate the good in people. Learn from the bad. Let go of guilt and pride and regret. And as that someone liked to say, and I'm going to keep it for myself, let's fail forward. I hope you have a great day.